The late musical duo of Seals and Crofts said it best. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing with the jasmine in my mind. Every time the summer arrives, that song comes to mind, but now that both of them have passed away, it doesn't feel the same anymore. ETU wrestling fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Summer Madness 4 was one of ETU's biggest shows, as it's always one of the bigger shows of the year, and they really knocked this one out of the park. We began with a 10-bell salute for Jordan Saint, who passed away last month. Forgot his age. The crowd was respectful and kept quiet for the 10-bell salute. We had I forgot what it was called, but they mentioned that, Mike Santana had given up the Key to the East Championship back at Dead Set in May. And we all now know why, because he's now part of the NXT and the WWE. So two four-corner survival matches were scheduled, in which the winners of both of them would face each other at the end of the night to crown a new Key to the East champion. So the first fatal four-corner survival match, we see, I don't know if this was his ETU debut or not, the Ratty Daddy Cole Radrick versus The Problem Isaiah Broner versus, making his ETU wrestling debut, the root of all evil Charles Mason versus Jay Bougie. Radrick, when he hit the ring, before he hit the ring, he goes into the crowd and he hugs a dude who practically had himself a proverbial cream fest when that happened, or as the late singer Prince would say, cream. And four-way matchup got underway. Early in the match, how was it? I believe it was Bougie did a dive to the floor on Radrick. Oh, I think it was on Radrick. Also, Isaiah Broner, he hit Charles Mason with a Lariato! And at that point, I channeled my inner Stan the Lariat Hansen and yelled, "Youth!" Yeah, for those wondering, all these years I thought when Stan Hansen did that, I thought he was mooing like a cow. And it turns out he was saying youth, Y-O-U-T-H, over the years. Eventually, these four men took it to each other. Jay Bougie defeated Cole Radrick, Isaiah Broner, and Charles Mason to advance to the championship match later in the show. That match went 10 minutes, 8 seconds. Up next, we have the other four-corner survival match to determine who would go on to later in the show to compete for the vacant Key to the East Championship. As we saw, Devious Cass versus Sam Hardway Is it Holloway or Holloway? I'm not sure. I forgot how he spells the name. It's Halloway or Holloway. Versus Casey Navarro versus A-Game Joseph Alexander. Casey Navarro was not planned. He replaced the man who was supposed to be in this match, a certain wrestler from Long Island, New York, known as Bear Bronson. Bear Bronson. I don't know if Bronson was injured or just could not make the show, and Casey Navarro took his place. And, Navarro, Cass, and A-Game, they were just all over the place with this matchup. And, Holloway, or is it Holloway? He's one huge man. I don't know how tall he is. Great match these four men had. A-Game Joseph Alexander defeated Devious Cass, Sam Hardway Holloway, say that one 3 times fast, and Casey Navarro at 15 minutes, 15 seconds to advance to the Key to the East Championship match later in the show. Up next was a triple threat women's match, as we saw the Real Deal, Zeta Steel, versus, making her debut, Charity King versus Lily La Pescadita. I'd say this looks like Lily's become, ever since Lily debuted at Coronation back in April, which is the last ETU event I attended, she's become like, I guess, well, she's been booked there ever since, and she's pretty much become a crowd favorite. And eventually, Lily La Pescadita, say that name 3 times fast, folks. She defeated Charity King and Zeta Steel at 9 minutes 43 seconds. Up next was a match for the Pandemonium Pro Tag Team Championship, as we saw Angelo Carter and, I apologize for not getting his partner's name, they are known as Diaspora, as they challenged Shimbashi, and I apologize for not remembering his partner's name, collectively known as New Fever. New Fever, they came to the ring, what they called buzz balls. I mean, they were like in little small glass jars with covers on them. I forgot. Again, once these shows are in the books, folks, it's just like Puddle of Mud. Everything's so blurry. The match was on. New Fever defeated Diaspora at 10 minutes 25 seconds to retain the Pandemonium Pro Tag Team Championship. After the match, New Fever opened up their buzz balls, and I don't know what kind of drinks they had. They took a page out of the hardcore icon Sandman's playbook as they poured the drinks in those buzz balls into the mouths of some of the fans at ringside. Ugh. Up next was one of the big matches of the show, as Hot Sauce Tracy Williams took on Marcus Mathers, who, I don't know, it's safe to say Marcus Mathers, can we consider him Mr. ETU? Knowing he's been on the show, almost been on every show nearly from the start, and just delivering awesome match after 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 awesome match. Great matchup. This was no exception. Marcus Mathers defeated Hot Sauce Tracy Williams at 18 minutes 11 seconds. After the match, Mathers takes the microphone, and I forgot what he said about, he basically put Tracy Williams over from the time they first fought each other. Mathers had something from Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling in Japan draped over his shoulder as he was talking to the crowd. And he said that maybe they should ETU should open their gates. And Marcus announced on Saturday, September 19th, when ETU returns, it will be All I Want 4. And at that point, they did go to intermission. And, okay, from there, they went to intermission. And then we had... Okay, well, we went to intermission, and then we got back to the wrestling action. As we saw, making their return to ETU from the earliest of shows, Kevin Koo and Dominic Guarini, Violence is Forever, as they challenge, representing the Expected, Matt Mako and Gabriel Sky for the Atlantic Tag Team Championship. Violence is Forever, they came to the ring to one of my favorite songs of the mid-1990s, Zombie by the Cranberries, and I noticed those that were standing near the exit, they were singing the song, as was I, and we pretty much had ourselves ETU karaoke at that point in time. And also, at that point in time, I was at that point of the show, I was thinking to myself, why didn't I take my megaphone out of the bag, you know? I know one young lady, but I don't know the lady, but one young lady in attendance, I mean, she wouldn't have been too thrilled if I did take it out. And on top of that, I was not sitting front row, because I didn't want to, deter those sitting in front of me from enjoying the show. Early in the Kevin Koo and Gabriel Sky, they went up to the stage, and Sky gave Koo a pile driver on the stage. The match went on. Eventually, I think Sky was on the floor with Guarini, and he untied one end of the apron and put the end of the rope of that rope of the apron, tied it to Garini's arm. He couldn't get back in the ring, or he was tied to the ring post. Eventually, Ku got pinned. Matt Mako and Gabriel Sky, all the expected, they defeated Violence is Forever to retain the Atlantic Tag Team Championship at 12 minutes 42 seconds. Up next, we had a singles matchup as we saw the Nomi, Gabby Forza, do battle with the Kick Demon, Janai Kai, for the Coastal Crown Championship. These ladies had a very good match, and these two ladies were like the top babyface women in ETU. Janai, I think, has been around almost from the beginning of ETU shows. Janai Kai defeated Gabby Forza at 10 minutes 55 seconds to become the new Coastal Crown champion. Very good match those two ladies had. From there, it was main event time as we saw A-Game Joseph Alexander versus Jay Bougie. The winner would win the vacant Key to the East Championship. These two guys, especially after practically going through three men in their respective matches earlier in the show, it's like how much did these guys have left in the proverbial tank? Even though they had most of the night to rest, and that was a good decision, putting both four-corner survival matches at the very beginning of the show, so the two winners could have practically the rest of the show to relax and rest up a little. Great matchup. Not surprised, Jay Bougie, not surprisingly to me, defeated A-Game Joseph Alexander at 15 minutes 53 seconds to win the vacant Key to the East Championship. Bougie's in the ring celebrating, the crowd's thrilled, and then out comes the expected Ikuro Kwan, and I noticed he had a chain in his hand. When Kwan was standing up on the apron, that chain was attached to the key. I don't know if the expected got this key at Dead Set back in May, or was it at the four-year anniversary event back in December. But Kwan cashed in the key right then and there, and Bougie, he's like furious and he's like livid about this, and at one point he's yelling at Ryan the Struggles, who runs ETU, and I mean, I don't think anyone could hear him at that point saying, I say to Bougie, hey, just get out of the ring, forget it, get out of the ring, but he didn't, and the match was on, and Kwan tried to spit red mist at Bougie, but Bougie was prepared. Kwan tried to pin Bougie, but he kicked out. Eventually, Kwan hit Bougie with a Shining Wizard to the back of Bougie. Ikuro Kwan defeated Jay Bougie at 2 minutes 16 seconds to win the Key to the East Championship. Eventually, Matt Mako and Gabriel Sky come out to celebrate. Austin Luke of the expected. He comes. I think he was doing commentary with. I forgot that gentleman's name who commentates the shows. But I guess Alec Price was not in attendance. I thought maybe he would have won the ETU championship before Ikuro Kwan. Okay. Well, personal notes, was good to see Joshua Cutler. He was on the bus with me to and from the show. And by the way, I have to say, kudos to ETU for, the show was wrapped up the show by 10:30. And there was like a bus from Port Authority that arrived between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. And the damn subway train near home, right up the street from me, wasn't running into Manhattan for the weekend. So what I had to do when I got back to Port Authority, I had to take the E train through most of Queens and then get off in Queens and take the train that stops right up the street from me. And as a result, I got home between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning, and basically had to go to work. I work on Sundays right now, folks. I had to, go to work on very little sleep. let me think, folks. A lot of pretty women in the crowd, especially one sitting further down the row from me. She had a bunch of tattoos, and she was pierced. Definitely that one lady with the white tank top standing among those that were singing "Zombie" for "Violence Is Forever." She was good looking, and there were a few other good looking ladies right by her. I know I've addressed this during past reviews of ETU events, but those lights are so blinding. I mean, I couldn't help but think about that 1970s song, "Blinded by the Light," or as The Weeknd would say, "I'm blinded by the light." That's that song by The Weeknd. That sounds like something either Michael Jackson or Prince could have come up with in their day. I think ring announcer Samira has been doing great. I don't know if they're going to continue to stick with her or not. During the expected "Violence Is Forever" match, someone behind me was starting to commentate in Japanese. I forgot to mention during that second four-corner survival match with Devious Cass, Sam Holloway, Casey Navarro, and A-Game Joseph Alexander. The problem, Isaiah Broner hit the ring and gave Devious Cass a lariato! So it looks like their predicament is not over yet. Alright? Right now. Memorable quotes. "Shut the fuck up!" A little girl in the crowd when Casey Navarro was face to face with Sam Holloway, and at one point Navarro left the ring, and after I doubt he attacked the little girl. I think he told her to zip it up. I mean, he could have made the late Morton Downey Jr. and said, "Zip it." He's 2% Samoan. Someone behind me when Tracy Williams gave Marcus Mathers a headbutter. Oh, I forgot this. After the expected left the ring to end the night, Jay Bougie grabbed a hold of that young man with the mask on. And I know he's usually on Instagram, Twitter. I forgot what he goes by. He supports a lot of indie promotions. And also Bougie was screaming at Ryan the Struggles, the owner of ETU, after the match. Okay? I know ETU Wrestling will not change their names, but they if they ever do, they can change their name to "Can You Top This?" Because this particular show, ladies and gentlemen, it seemed like every match tried to outdo or do better or do much more than the match that previously happened before them. I know everybody is like a tough act to follow, seemingly. And I will say, huge respect to all the men and women who competed on this event. The funny thing is, I actually considered not going to this event, knowing that I work on Sundays right now. But I'm glad I made it, man. Glad I made it. Glad I went. I mean, Summer Madness 4 is never go down. It will be a tough act to follow. That's for certain. Also, ETU, if you ever thought about a tagline, here's one for you. Fire, fury, passion. That'd be a nice tagline for ETU Wrestling. Now, as stated earlier, ETU Wrestling returns Saturday, September 19th with Marcus Mathers' All I Want 4. I'm not sure if I'll make this event, but Speaking of future events, Ryan the Struggles. I don't know if a date has been pinpointed for the 5-year anniversary in December. I can say right now, December 5th or December 12th would be wonderful, especially since ETU's been running on Saturdays as of late. Let me see everything. What else I was going to say here? With Gabby Forza dropping the Coastal Crown Championship, I don't know if she's going to be there September 19th. But who's to say what Summer Madness 5 is going to bring next summer? And I will say, you know, ETU, again, you hit this one out of the park. It's going to be a tough act to follow. And also, I will say, this will go down as one of its most memorable events in the history. And I forgot to as I mentioned about the little girl who told Casey Navarro to shut the fuck up. That drew the crowd. After that, the crowd chanted "Holy shit," and they also chanted ETU. And it's obvious to me that ETU was being chanted just about in every single match. So I have to say to the crowd that I was a part of, and not to sound like the honky tonk man, but thank you very much. You've been a beautiful audience. All right. So again, December 5th or December 12th, if that's one of those dates would be tremendous if I can, you know, for ETU's 5th year anniversary show, whether or not a date's been decided. But wow, you know, this is something, folks. This is something. This will go down in the annals of time. And if you weren't there, the replay is already up on IWTV. Watch it. And well, I'm going to say, hopefully Charles Mason gets to come back. Hopefully Bear Bronson will finally get to debut since he didn't make this event. You should see now that the Expected has pretty much the top championships in the company right now. They have the top championships right now. They have the Key to the East Championship and the Atlantic Tag Team title. Be interested to see where they go from here. But I will say, I gotta say, Jay Bougie, no point in me saying this, but he was robbed of his moment. I first saw him at Upper Limit Wrestling's debut event back in 2021, and this man, you know, he was part of House of Glory. He was a part of so many promotions. I sure hope Bougie does get his rematch, and he'll be completely fresh for, unlike this very event. Again, I'm so blown away by this one, but I'll say it. Summer Madness 4 was awesome. It'll be a tough act to follow. Again, not sure if I'll make it September 19th. If again the 5-year anniversary is December 5th or December 12th, that may be a good chance for me to go. Then I'll make that. ETU, 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 ETU.